want to call the environment meeting to order this morning. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, and good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so I'd like to start with our introductions. Go around and introduce everyone. I'm Bill Emerson, Lake County Surveyor. You want to go here?
Yes. Jen Birchfield, Natural Resources Planner at Nancy.
Let's swing back around to Kathy.
Kathy Luther.
Go on, we're mixing it up.
Kathy Simple, Earth Charter, Indiana.
Susan Halo with the Nature Conservancy.
Morning, everybody. Joe Exel, Indiana Department of Natural Resources, Lake Michigan Coastal Program.
Good morning, Catherine Smaga.
Yes.
Say mine to that.
I just wrote that down. Catherine needs it.
We're updating that. That's the first one since that happened. But yes, Catherine Smaga. I'm the grant specialist for Lake Michigan Coastal Program, Indiana and DNR.
Hi everyone, Jacob Nieto. I'm the conservation coordinator over at Safe Havens.
Tim Kiesman, City of Woodward.
Reggie Corthals, Indiana Municipal Partnership and Indiana University Northwest.
Ryan Lissing, Director in Indiana.
George Topple, Union Township Trustee of Porter County.
Michelle Marie Friesen, Northwest Indiana Forum.
Meredith Stillwell, groups of staff.
I'm Emily Dewan. I'm an internet director in Indiana.
Megan Mack, Director in Indiana.
Emily McAllister, also an internet director in Indiana.
Doug Ross, not with Drive for Clean Indiana. I'm here for the Post Tribune.
Lloyd Zimmer, I'm with the Michigan City State Building Commission.
Tom Andrew with Nixie.
All right.
You got a lot of interns.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for being here. Yes. Oh, Reggie. All right, so we do have our meeting minutes that were distributed with the agenda from May 7th. Is there a motion to?
You ready?
Yeah, whoever wants
Can
to.
I have a motion to approve the minutes from the May 7th meeting?
I said.
All right.
Second, all in favor?
Whoa, whoa.
Wait a
Who does
minute.
that?
All
I
right.
thought I was the chair. Okay. go
Oh,
ahead.
you run everything else in the stormwater community, not this one. All right, so.
Live right now.
Oh, good. Well, now they know too. All right, so there's a motion and a second on the minutes. Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? All right, those minutes are, okay. All right, do we have anybody sign up for public comments? No?
Oh, I did.
Oh, you did?
I just wanted to announce that the next Nice Five meeting is being hosted by Bill Emerson in Lake County. And it will be at the Lake County SWCB, and it will have some really great hands-on water quality practices.
Oh.
I think the NERC policy generally is to keep the comments to items on the agenda. We do announcements at the end,
Oh,
so if you guys have
okay.
announcements for the end, but that's something that's.
We only had nice one.
Okay. But yes, we will be hosting next month, nice way, just at Lake County Soil and Water Conservation District. You're all welcome to come. All right, and so next on the agenda, we have Kathy giving us an update on the 2050 plus plan.
This is the part of the agenda where we talk about NERC business, pretty much. Close that, close that. So, I'm gonna sit down. I hope you don't mind me. Michelle, you might not be able to see me.
It's okay.
But because I'm behind the thing, but, okay. So, as many of you may know, we are a metropolitan planning organization, and we're required to do a metropolitan transportation plan with a 20-year horizon, and we have to update it every 4 years. So we are in year 4 and the second update of the 2050, Northwest Indiana 2050 plan. So we are in the Northwest Indiana 2050 plus update right now. We've been working on that for a while. We're carrying over the vision and goals from the 2050 plus, maintaining the horizon year of 2050, and pretty much the organization of the chapters. Right now we're in a stage of incorporating new data, getting public and stakeholder feedback, and then do some of the mandatory components of the transportation planning, like forecasting and financial planning. And for the focusing on really regional significant projects. And this is my attempt at a Gantt chart. Oh, where's the?
Usually pass these out or not?
No, that's for. Yeah, but maybe at the end.
Okay.
Ah, that was the wrong button. No, I'm trying to find the button.
Oh, it's email.
Okay, so we are in August. So we're still out doing a lot of public participation, just kind of preference boards. I myself way overcommitted to the Lake County Fair, so if you're going there this next 2 weeks, you may see me. Although I'm working on that. We are still wrapping up the regional profile and performance report, which is, we talked to you guys about that in May, looking at performance metrics, especially for the climate and environment chapter. And now we are kind of in an assessment and analysis phase, really focusing on the recommended strategies and implementation steps, and just to kind of get a sense of, are those appropriate? Where are we? Are people doing any of them? Are some of them maybe not appropriate and we should consider not keeping them? Are some of them impossible, we're not tracking them? And are there gaps? And then meanwhile, there'll be some socioeconomic forecasting for population, jobs, and travel demand. And then we'll have some recommendations. In the meantime, we'll be running a separate track for transportation projects for federal funds for the next 4 years. And then hopefully we will have a draft plan out for public comment in May. So we didn't necessarily set up the 2050 plus with goals in a lot of places. So these are some of the goals that were in the plan that were, I would say, smart, and that they have a time frame and measurable and I don't know all the efforts. So we have a great big goal to reduce our annual tons of greenhouse gas emissions by 62.4% by 2030, and then net zero at 2050. And we have a numerical goal to have the Northwest Indiana vehicle fleet by 95% electric vehicles by 2050. And then other ones that I found numbers from were some goals about transit-oriented development, to increase the jobs within transit service areas, and then increase the percent of the urban tree canopy, and increase the acres and rangelands. So those were really the only smart goals, but we did have and this is just a reminder for the tons of emissions. And in our planning, we're focusing on transportation and mobile sources, residential energy and commercial energy, because those are the biggest source sectors other than industry. But that's something we can talk about too. So in this update, I want to realign the emissions inventory and emissions related practices to line up with the bi-state Greater Chicago Climate Action Plan, where the residential energy use and commercial energy use, and also like land use change and land use planning, are grouped under buildings. And then transportation and mobile sources are transportation, that's basically there. In our 2050 plus, we had our urban forestry. We're talking about natural area conservation for natural sequestration, which is what it's called in the Greater Chicago Plan. And then we are combining energy, industrial energies, and industrial process of fugitive emissions into industry plan. So going forward, we're aligned with that plan as we kind of integrate that. For some of the objectives and strategies that we had clearly enumerated in the climate and environment chapter, for this stage of assessment and analysis, some of the other chapters have very similar, if not identical, objectives. So in our chapter, we had an objective to prioritize transit-oriented development with 3 recommended activities in it. There is extensive analysis of transit-oriented development in the land use and housing chapter. There's extensive discussion of compact development, walkable communities in both the land use and housing chapter and in the active transportation chapter. There's also, we have an objective about increased bike infrastructure. It's also in the active transportation chapter. And then we have a chapter of transit. So we're not going to talk about those today here. They are being talked about, like an assessment of who's doing what and how we're doing and whether they're reasonable in other committees. But we're collecting that information, and if any of those are of interest to follow, we can provide you that information, or request, you can give us any input you want on those. So of our previous chapter, what is left for us? We have the electric vehicle promotion objective, which included, that one had the numerical one, but then we also have activities around cleaner fuel adoption, green vehicle purchasing, green infrastructure, urban forestry, and natural area conservation that are included in the NWI 2050 plus, that we would be the kind of leaders on tracking implementation and assessing. So under the transportation emission source, I would say I've grouped emissions into emissions and air quality, so that if the climate word needs to be removed, we can still be talking about this. But so for EV and car fleet promotion, these are the different strategies that we presented in the plan to be done, most of which are required to do at the local government level, although some we do support. So for electric vehicle promotion, the activities the strategies we had, establish EV ready parking standards, install EV charging stations at public buildings, offer funding and fee waivers. Maybe now we should be handing that. Sure. Sorry, I should have handed that before. You're right.
Oh,
So these are all the EV activities we have in there, and then we have one for green vehicle purchasing policies, which I think includes electric vehicles and other alternative fuels or lower emission fuels for vehicles and engines that aren't, maybe the electric isn't quite there yet. And then a lot of our chapter is also about the natural sequestration, which is including our urban forestry and green infrastructure. So what's being passed around right now, this is a very quick run through because I think people are going to be more interested in Jen's presentation. Maybe not. But these are the strategies that are in the plan now. The only one that, for example, a strategy that I don't know if anybody is pursuing or interested in that is in the plan now. Harvest and utilize high-value wood products from trees that must be removed. So we've had a lot of storms, taking out a lot of trees, so there's a lot of wood laying around. And if it's all going to firewood or mulch, it's not necessarily, that carbon that the tree was sequestering is now out in the environment. Whereas if you use the wood for furniture, or I don't know, if you use the wood for some things with more longevity, you're maintaining that carbon sequestration. So that's the reason why that was in the strategies. But that's an example of, I don't know if anybody is even talking about that, or who would. It seems like maybe it's an entrepreneur, small business strategy. So that's the kind of like assessment and analysis. Should we keep that one in there? Is it make sense for NERC or local government? It's just the kind of question.
Yeah, that's a hard one to implement for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. Like maybe people in the maker space. I don't know what communities are doing with all the wood. I'm assuming it's going. I know there's more out there than can be reasonably mulched or used as mulch. And then, so we had a lot of detail because we started from our draft conduct plan, and in that area, and then in the, we also have maybe not enough detail in the conserve key natural assets and open space, including working lands and fully fund parks and recreation systems. So the intent of these, what I'm showing, passing around, is the other committees or chapters are establishing working groups to kind of go through that, typically of the implementers. So in our area, in our categories, the implementers might be Public Works, and Dry Clean Indiana is all of working on that. It might be Parks Departments, it might be, if you have a sustainability group, maybe you're looking at all of these things. It might be your planning department that makes your zoning and ordinances. So in some cases, like the land use and housing chapter has a working group, and that's got all the planners in it. So if ordinance questions, we can go to them. And then ultimately asking jurisdictions to complete the worksheet for themselves. Are they doing this? Have they already done it? Are they thinking about doing it? Are they not even? It's not even on the radar, and we shouldn't focus much effort on it. And then, so this is going to be soon a request for assistance. But here's just, in my going through this to create the worksheet, I've identified some strategy gaps that from the climate side and from the conservation side, because we've been doing a lot of conservation action planning with the natural resource stakeholders. And then we have the climate plan from the bi-state work, and our own to update is there's nothing in the strategies now about energy efficiency of buildings, about electrification of building, like going from natural gas to heat pumps. There's nothing in there right now about renewable energy, either distributed on, solar on buildings. And there's nothing in there specific to brownfields, and I was kind of looking at, although there are some things about infill and redevelopment. And the transportation, there's a whole congestion management plan, which is designed to reduce vehicle hours traveled, like how much time people are stuck in traffic. And that could be incorporated into our emission reduction strategies. And also, we don't have any activity around oil reduction. I think the natural area conservation objectives are pretty robust, but they're all clumped together, and maybe we could break out some more specificity of actual actions. And then industry, we've acknowledged through the climate planning process that local governments don't have a lot of control about that, but there has been a lot of activity around promoting policy recommendations and encouraging green technology investment. So we could, at a minimum, we could put something like that in.
I don't want to interrupt, but
Yeah.
can I just have a comment? We, at the full commission meeting, there was a lot of discussion, probably the most discussion I've ever heard at a full commission meeting about data centers and, impact on the community, electricity usage, whether that should be green, green electricity or the natural gas power plants that a lot of them are proposing. I mean, I don't know if that would fit in here. There seems to be a call from some communities of like a regional approach to it instead of every community kind of doing something different, which they're going to do anyway, but it's a guidance from NERC, So I don't know if this is the right time to talk about that. Maybe we get into it after your presentation, but I don't know if that's something that our committee would want to take the lead on, or because there was a lot of discussion about it at the last meeting.
Well, I thought, and you'll have the strategy implementation worksheets, which at the we've only had one, the land use and housing chapter have a stakeholder implementation workshop kind of thing going through their worksheets. So I don't necessarily think that we should do that here, although we can talk about some of them. And I want to kind of pull one up because where I started populating it from NERC, so I can maybe I can show you that if I can remember how SharePoint works under pressure. Oh, that's a PowerPoint mistake. That's a PowerPoint too. So I went through the chapter 3, whenever there was a table that had strategies in it, and then I tried to combine that with the previous exercise of talking about performance measures and what to track. And I don't know if that with me, but and so like a couple things I'm recommending is we have the objective of reducing the emissions, but maybe we need some objectives around the whole climate planning activity. So that would be a new section, but it's really taking things that we've already put time on. So maybe we need a new goal about how many jurisdictions will have adopted climate action plans. And we could set that up by decade. And then what are the strategies to get there? Conduct a greenhouse gas inventory. So NERC did a regional one, 15 communities have done them. And then following this across for that strategy. NERC completed the regional inventory in 2017, and the 15 LPAs have inventories. That we did some, and they're in Michigan State did their own. So NERC completed that initial step. Local governments, some are completed, some are not, but we would ask each government, have they done one? And we didn't do it, so we don't know. Do they have one in progress? Are they planning to do one? Have they not even go there?
Hey, Kathy, I think Tim had a question. Are you okay with questions? Breaking
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
With the state of Indiana revising its statutes over the years on not being able to go above beyond what state statute lists, can this be implemented under the current political climate to be in compliance with the state, or is it going to require the cities to do stuff that maybe in the long run may not be able to be enacted
Well, and I think that that's really important, especially because maybe you can't require things, you can incentivize things that you can't require. And I think that is the, some of these we need to vet with the land use, with the planners who know what they can implement and not implement.
All right.
So that's part of this assessment and analysis. Like we put this strategy in, and municipalities can't do it. But that is also a moving target. Like every time somebody tries to do something, then.
There's been so much going on across the state on the interaction of agricultural land and development and how that is working. Elkhart County has pay dirt, so does a couple of other counties now. We're probably going to bring pay dirt to this area. So how do you work all that in? And maybe looking at your the regional climate action plan, when do you foresee that being done?
I had hoped to do it, obviously you all know, I put it in there, didn't get it done. Now that we have the bi-state one,
Okay, yeah.
I'm trying to integrate some of that material into this update, but this isn't a whole entire plan overhaul. So I think part of the discussion of gaps may be carried over into finally going back to the regional framework. And I think even more important is I had promised to do kind of templates, like based on emission, like most of the communities that we did the inventories for either had a lot of building, little transportation, a lot of transportation, little building, or very even distribution. So I think we could do kind of a template. If your pie chart looks like this, here's a suggested starting point for you. If your pie chart looks like that, focus more on this. But there is a lot about open space protection and conservation development and consenting development, but it's more in the land use and housing chapter, this analysis of it.
Okay, when we see communities like the town of Maryville putting a 1-year moratorium on any type of agricultural data center development, okay, so other communities now are looking at that. How is that going to impact coming up with a regional plan?
Well, I think we have part of the plan is there's the business as usual, this is what's gonna happen if we do nothing,
Okay.
and then we do try to do some forecasting.
Okay.
And I think that NiSource will have done a lot of forecasting about the energy demand, foreseen energy demand, and that's probably what we would.
One of the issues I see is the building community has a lot of say in the state of Indiana government, and not to have some kind of buy-in from the building side of things may be problematic. I don't know. I have some concerns.
Well, I mean, it's not, none of this is easy, or it would all be done already. and I know that there's a lot of pressure the other way. We can only, put it out there, and kind of it's like, if you're serious about this, then we have to do that.
This might be a decent follow-on question. At our last meeting, you had rolled out that program University was developing based on the Minnesota Green Steps program.
Yeah.
And then we talked about that at our June meeting for Sustainability Commission. Does that show up anywhere here?
Not specifically, but a lot of the things on that list are in here. Like there's a million ways you can crosswalk this, and I love doing that. I can spend my whole life just crosswalking spreadsheets, but
yeah, and it seems like a meta strategy that
it is.
Kind of helps define who's doing what.
Yeah.
Because like when we did that regional greenhouse gas inventory, or like ERC can really only address these things. These are the things that we have power over, and then some of them do have to be done at the municipal level. So I don't know where that should show up, but it seems like since there's a column for local government,
yeah, and so we would ask different local governments to say they're doing this, but also let me say that this is an example of where I think Well, so under the climate action, local or climate action plans are adopted. We can do the regional framework, but that's up to individual communities. But one strategy that's not in there now, but that I've tried to start building the infrastructure for is technical support. I mean, we have a great model with Drive Clean Indiana that we have funded them, and they can provide technical policy, a lot of different support around the issue of alternative fuel vehicles and emission reduction that way. And it has made a difference, I think, in communities that are on board who want to and have support to implement things. And finding those things that save money. If you can get over the hump of how to do it, how do we get there from here? Somebody can tell you how and how much it might cost or how much money you might save. It's easier to do it. So that's, maybe we need to build up more strategy around that. Strategy around that.
The reality of the situation I see is that with the new enacted law on property tax for local communities, very well the burden's been placed on the local communities now to make up that difference. Either through income tax, will tax, whatever it may be. So, to me, economics is going to play a big part in any decision that you're trying to make here. You're already trying to improve the environment, whatever it may be. The local communities are struggling right now, trying to survive. And, I know there's pros and cons on the data centers. You can go either way on that argument. But yet, it's offering a source to local communities to bridge that gap of the revenue. And I think that we need to be realistic about the economics, because economics is going to play a big part in this, what you're trying to do there.
Yeah, I guess my point is more, we've spent a lot of time with Chicago, the CMAP, and going through the greenhouse gas inventory and working in that direction. And we look at just the sheer amount of power. I mean, you guys all know that, but it's unbelievable. I mean, there's one that is proposed on the corporate Lake County, which I'm on the Plan Commission for, and we're talking 200 megawatts at least. That's 20% of this goes output. I mean, that's for this whole area is what I'm saying. So we're talking about huge numbers. So, and we spend a lot of time on car emissions and things like that, rightfully so. But this is a huge issue that I don't know if NERC is the right avenue to direct that. But
right now,
I'm sorry. I was just going to say that, I think that as sort of an approach we've been taking is trying to provide information to municipalities to kind of get ahead of things and, best practice information.
Yeah. So, Selena gave a presentation at the last meeting, which I know was and we've been granted an extension, a 3-month extension of her time, and she's going to focus on, and she's not originally part of our project, but she did learn a lot about data centers and data center conservation, sustainable data centers, I guess I would say, and also community benefits strategies, like how to benefit and how if the data center, you get a data center.
Who is doing that?
Selena Green, she's our economic recovery corps fellow. And so she's going to use that 3 months to take some of what she's learned and work with a handful of the local governments that are kind of in the middle of the data center thing right now. But can you get the data center to pay for some of these other things that you couldn't ordinarily do?
Some of these things are being addressed by the Hoosier Environmental Council. So if she looks at them for their data and some of their information will be helpful. We've got a couple new board members, so they're really trying to get the information.
Yeah, she's been going to, there's associations that certify sustainable data centers. She's been going a lot of it. But so that's another example, right? Again, the technical support example. And I'm not exactly sure what areas this no more stringent ban applies to. And that's a really good question and analysis because I think that's important for green infrastructure, for example. Can you require it, or can you just incentivize it, or can you give some other, how can you implement it if you can't make it a rule? I don't know, but that's some of this assessment and analysis stage is to look at the feasibility of some of these strategies.
And it's growing so fast that we need to stay on top of it.
Right, but I was, so like, nobody really was talking about data centers when we did this plan, but people were talking about intermodal facilities. People were talking about waste to energy facilities. So I think that, there's always going to be the next big thing. So how do we make strategies that we're prepared for that?
And, I'm heavily involved in the data center process for the city of Holbrook. And right now they're talking a 30-year lifespan for the state for the data center. So what happens after that 30 years? Do we have buildings there? What do we do after the fact? Because technology keeps moving on. And I've heard this from Amazon directly. They don't really know right now what's going to happen after those 30 years.
It's changing fast. Everything is.
Mm-hmm. So I handed those out so people could look at them. I would like to have kind of a stakeholder working group around this, and maybe it would be some of you guys from this committee, and maybe it'd be some of the folks from the sustainability working groups. Particularly, in kind of looking at this, what do people take on this? How can we narrow it down, or add things? And if we add things, it will be probably, because this is just a minor update, it might be gaps, and then the strategy is gonna be to spend the next 2 years working to fill the gaps. I don't know if people want to volunteer for that, or if you want me to just invite everyone and to a kind of strategy review.
That's strictly climate action, right? And that's really this.
I think if you.
Well,
invite
no, I think because
everyone-
there's a whole other section about, so in this particular plan, we have some objectives about conservation land and natural areas and high quality conservation lands. It was heavily oriented towards the carbon sequestration, natural carbon sequestration, but I think that was not, we pulled some things from 2040, like the acres of managed lands. And the acres of managed land, I just want to, when we did the 2040 plan, our target was 70,000 acres of managed land. We're at 50,000, and if you count the Little Cal Basin Commission's property that's inside the levee, we're already at almost 60, and we were trying to get to 70 by 2050. Maybe we need to make a more, a more ambitious vision goal for 2050. Maybe we're,
That's good. Good.
that's kind of what I want to kind of do in the working group.
I'd be willing to work in a work group
Okay.
if it's going to include conservation lands. And it's not just about connectivity, it's about buffering too.
Yeah, I think I had that. That was one that's not in there now, but I was trying to come up with something, and I think this is a group effort. How to take the conservation action plans, and how do we put that in this type of a framework that's workable for communities. So I think right now I may just send it to everyone, and then people can self-select.
Yeah.
If you do that, then those that are really interested will show up, and the ones that aren't,
Yes.
won't.
Yep.
And then if they don't show up, they're off the committee.
I would say the other thing that we don't have a lot of in here is water. We talked about green infrastructure,
Yes, yes.
But there, I mean, I do have a goal. We are making progress towards doing a vulnerability risk assessment. And so that we can start a second piece of resiliency and adaptation planning. So we may get more there, and there's more to talk about. And I want to leave lots of time for Jen. So I may try to do the working group on first Thursday of one of the in-between months, since I do hold the room for all of them, just for that type of reason. So
Keep in mind that August is National Water Quality Month,
okay.
so
Is now a good time to mention something? I feel like I'm going on.
You're the boss in
tangents.
this room.
Speaking of water, it'd be nice to have like a regional message, on water quality. Not just the only rain in the drain type of stuff, but we have a good, I think, message on clean air, and I think a lot of that's Dry Clean Indiana pulling a lot of that weight too. But I wonder if we can put something together like that, or just for discussion. I'm not saying we need to do that today.
All of the materials that were created from the previous MS4 partnership are available on NERC's website, including the marketing material, outreach material. We had, I think, Ever Drop Counts was our thing.
one of the things that, and she gave me that, and we're gonna look at it with the NICEWI group, is that hopefully the MS4 partnership could help fund that. I talked to Lori Gates about this yesterday so that we could have a message. If you go back, remember it all adds up to cleaner air. And it is something, it was like, we did this little test at gas stations and stopped and asked them, what do they do on an ozone action day? And there were 4 guys there, and they said, I don't top up my tank, and I don't cut my grass. Then we turned around and said, what do you do on a water quality awareness day? Well, it's not there. So we need to get that message, but it needs, you're right, consistency. So that's what we'll try to do, and try to get the NICEWI group to buy into it.
Yeah,
We had like 4 steps. We had 4 steps for clean water or something.
Like MS4s have, a requirement to do, outreach and education and awareness. So maybe somebody, I think I could convince our commissioners to contribute to that too.
Right now, the website's gonna be a big deal. I'm looking for someone that'll help design that website for NICEWI. And then all the communities can link into it. We can put information out there that they can use on their site. There are communities all over the state that are really pulling up some good stuff. So we just need to share.
Okay,
Help
thanks.
the city of Detroit do a stormwater hub, where a green infrastructure hub, where they, had all of the various projects like all centralized in the hub, so that people can see what kind of impact collectively in the watershed.
It was really cool. Fort Wayne did the rain garden. Fort Wayne did like a online rain garden contest on Facebook or something, and I think they had to for their consent decree. But anyway, I forgot to mention regarding this 2050 plus update. I put the QR code on the back. We are doing a public questionnaire. In more detail, if you've been to one of our tables and did put dots on a board, thank you very much. But this is an opportunity to, how long did we think what are there, 15 questions in the questionnaire?
Yeah, about that.
About 15 questions, and it's more like, rank these things in priority order. And it's also an opportunity to put in comments about specific, like, hazardous intersections.
Can we send this to the
Yes.
NICEWI group?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll send it out.
And
Yes.
Kathy, you should know that water quality and environment.
Yes.
needs to be right.
At almost every outreach meeting, environment and water quality and air quality wins. But it has been suggested that it's because how we order the board, and if we put it in,
No.
I don't believe that to be true.
Those are bold and huge.
Everybody should.
All right. Well, thank you, Kathy, for that. That was a good discussion. All right, Jen, you're up.
There's an opportunity to get money for some of this stuff.
Money.
Okay. Next up, we'd like to discuss a little bit the Community Partnerships Grant Program. This is a project that
is in a grant with the Alliance for Great Lakes. We are sub-recipients, assisting with that. So these are slides abbreviated from a workshop that we did. There's also a full webinar that is listed online on the website, which I'll share the link to later. If you want kind of more of the detailed slides, but we abbreviated it a little bit for today. So we're going to talk about what projects need, the GLRI outcomes and alignment, which many in this room might be familiar with GLRI, Great Lakes Restoration Initiative, but that is the funding for this program, so it does need to align with GLRI, as well as the timeline. So an overview of the program. The Alliance for the Great Lakes is administering this USC EPA funded project. NERC, among others, is a partner in this program, including Calumet Collaborative, Faith in Place, and Friends of the Chicago River. So we are currently inviting proposals for GLRI projects in communities where the projects are needed most. We do kind of want to emphasize or try to encourage project teams that have never applied for GLRI funding to apply. There's sort of a capacity building component to this. Projects must be located in the Southern Lake Michigan sub-watersheds. I do have a map that I'll show you later. I think a lot of you are probably familiar with what we're talking about there, but I will show you the eligibility map. And we also have a link where you can check your specific location's eligibility. This is funded through...
The last paragraph then.
Yes.
We have such a change in in elected leadership. Is there some way we could do an education on how you register, how you receive federal funds? I had a mayor say to me the other day, I don't understand this. Okay. So we need to get that information out there.
We're doing some work on that. I don't know about a specific workshop. I'll note that, but
okay.
on that specific topic, but we are doing some work. There are some resources available through the project team for new applicants who aren't familiar with those things. Okay. Yeah, and some of it is covered to some degree in the full recorded webinar as well. There are some things on, the UEI and yeah.
Can we send the webinar link out to the NICE Web?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
just send that to me and
I will.
send it out to.
Yes. I'll send you the full announcement. That way you'll see the webinar and RFP everything. Okay. So the key characteristics of projects, these are pre-implementation projects. So this is up to $300,000. Selected projects will include a clearly defined and meaningful partnership role for community-based organizations in the area. They will have up to 18 months for completion. And these aren't, installation, implementation, build funds. These should result in 90 to 100% design for on-the-ground projects. There are a range of activities that can be supported: developing design and engineering, continuing and expanding stakeholder engagement, preparing detailed cost estimates, engaging permitting officials, and other activities that result in 90 to 100% design. Projects must address one or more of the GLRI, Great Lakes Restoration Action Plan outcomes. Those are control of invasive species, capture and treatment of stormwater runoff.
Read that again.
Sorry, control of invasive species.
Capture and treat stormwater runoff.
Yeah.
That's a big problem for trustees because we don't know how to deal with it. We're supposed to be responsible for it.
Okay.
So I'd be very interested in talking to you about that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll share information about how to get more info about this program.
Maybe you can share it with our trustee group too.
Okay, please do. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're trying to get the word out about this right now. So she's
Do you have a green infrastructure part on our website on kind of designing green infrastructure? Not designing, but
specific,
yeah,
especially related to
linear
transportation projects.
Jennifer?
Yes.
I just completed a EPA grant last year for Duck Creek tributary restoration. And I know what you need to do and what, especially on the water monitoring that's going to be required of this.
Okay.
So, you know, if you need some help, I can volunteer to help you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, yeah. I know, Hobart, you guys have done a lot of green infrastructure. Yes.
Just a question, would this also qualify for pre-engineering for example, a master plan for sanitary sewers?
That's a good question. We've had this similar question before, and I think it's a little bit of a gray area. Generally, planning, you know, updating plans in and of itself is not going to be eligible. If there were,
Particularly if it's for part of your permit. So
Yeah.
like permit required stormwater management plan.
yeah, if
Yeah.
you had a specific project from a plan
Yeah.
that you wanted to
Take all the
develop.
help we can get.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good questions.
It needs to be tied to a project to make those, hit these metrics.
Yeah, because you need to count the means of the outcomes.
And we are aware that some types of projects maybe don't need a lot of engineering, but they might need some planning for the project.
So we also have restore Great Lakes shoreline and riparian corridors, restore, enhance, and or protect coastal watersheds, nearshore, and other habitats. There are optional Great Lakes Restoration Action Plan outcomes that can be included. The previous ones, one of those must be included. Stakeholder engagement and community benefits, including workforce development, financial and project management, capacity building to develop a financial management strategy, and or a project management work plan, project implementation and long-term maintenance plans, including site monitoring and maintenance.
It's usually a 3-year requirement.
Okay. Usually 3 years.
That's, a lot of people don't realize that, but that's additional money. For 3 years, it costs me about $30,000.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, and that's always an important component of a project, I think, as well, to develop, you know, a plan for maintenance, long-term maintenance.
Yeah.
The team is offering a range of supports for planning and capacity building. I think this kind of gets to your question, Reggie. We've had 2 workshops. We had one in Gary and one in south area of Chicago. Where were we? Englewood? Yeah.
I didn't go to that.
Where was Gary and where?
Gary Public Library and I think it was Englewood.
An Altoth library,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
in Illinois.
We are holding office hours currently to explore the programmatic and geographic eligibility and think through the project, budget, and partnerships before someone submits an LOI. Those will be held through September 4th. We have done some financial trainings that is included in the recorded webinar. There's some financial information. Facilitated peer-to-peer learning for supporting awardees, opportunities to troubleshoot challenges, and some additional as-needed assistance to prepare the project team for the project's future phases, as we were talking about. Here's an overview of the timeline. Some of this has already passed, but we are currently doing office hours. Letters of interest are due September 4th. Invitations to full proposal will be issued October 2nd. We will then have office hours for accepted applications. Full proposals, when invited, will be due November 13th. And those should be notified then December 21st. The contracting process will take place, and we expect a sub-awardee start date of March 15th, 2027. Projects must be completed by September 15th, 2028, and final reporting by November 15th, 2028.
A quick question, if this really, Bill, goes to you. our NICEWAC meeting is on September 1st, okay?
Yeah.
Would it serve any purpose to have this and other information to the MS4s at that time?
That's
Is
tight.
it too late or is it too,
It's probably better for.
You should get it now and sign up for office hours.
Yeah.
okay?
If you would want to email it to them, I will send all the information along to you.
Okay,
Because I think it would be better that they get it soon. I know, when we're looking at a grant application, that would
okay.
be enough time for us.
We, I don't, go ahead, because this,
I mean, it's
I
a
was
letter,
gonna
sorry.
what?
Yeah, letter.
So
It's a letter of intent, so if you have your project over,
Yeah.
you know, just general costs, I think that's all you're gonna need to submit as far as regards to the letter of intent.
Yeah, I mean, there are some questions in there, the letter of interest, well, I don't think I included the slides.
I'd like to get them to talk to you, you know,
Yeah.
during those office hours, get them to,
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, that's what the office hours are designed for. You can sign up for those office hours, and really the idea is that we will have at least 2 members of the team on each of those office hours,
Okay.
to kind of cover the breadth of the community engagement team, the more kind of technical team.
Is that the type of thing that they could call in and talk to you to instead of, or do they need to be here?
No, that's what the office hours are. Everything,
They
we're
are
doing
virtual.
everything virtually because of the
They're
bi-state watershed being so large and the bi-state team.
They're all beautiful.
Okay, good.
This is, I feel like this is a great opportunity. Do you have a problem area where you know you have some stormwater management problems, but you don't have a solution yet? You know, if you could get the, kind of the geography and the, and a local partner, you know, that you can, that, this was originally gonna be a 3-year, 4-year, and we spent a lot of time renegotiating a lot of things. So the reason we're doing focus on planning and design is because there's only 18 months left. And by the time you do procurement, we're not funding land acquisition. We can, I think, if you can put it within your $300,000, include environmental assessment information if it's a brownfield that you want to do your project on and you need to do some sampling.
And we are hopeful. Initially, this was envisioned as having a next implementation.
We still potentially could have a second phase of
We're hopeful.
3 times as much money for
Do not have that
implementation.
guarantee at this point.
But even still, there's a lot of programs where if you already have a shovel-ready project, there's money
Yeah.
available.
So, John, will any of these projects essentially have to go through federal compliance, like, you know, ESA?
Yeah, and I believe that can be included, right, Kathy?
Yeah, that would be part of your budget, right? Oh, we need to prepare a
Since it's
ESA and,
I'm thinking of a timeline
Yeah, yeah.
perspective because I know from my own experience, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is taking so much longer to approve
Okay.
those compliance documents.
Yeah.
And I'm concerned that it's going to affect timelines for
This
people.
is actually, I think, the perfect thing for that, right?
yeah, I think you can use this money to prepare it and
If it's,
maybe get a round of feedback from them, and then, so that you're ready to go. As soon as some new money shows up somewhere, boom.
But you're not
If it's
using
federal
federal dollars to match federal dollars, right?
Yeah, these are federal dollars.
Yeah, but-
So it wouldn't count as your match if it was something with a leverage.
right, and there's no match required.
Nope, no match.
But does match give you a leg up if you have match to offer?
You know, I think if you have a project that's larger than the scope of this and you have additional funds or, you know, it'll improve the project. I don't know, Kathy, I can't recall if we have that as a scoring criteria. I don't believe that we do.
I don't think so.
So I
Might
can't
be
say that
in-
we give you a leg up, but if you have match, I would certainly document that in your project budget.
I think if you have like, this is a great, I think this is a good opportunity to have a wish list, and you just haven't been able to get started on the technical part of it, or if you have a problem area that you need to find a solution for. And then, yeah, I don't know.
Do they want to see some ability to have the funding in the future, though? It's not, right? Or is it?
Well, I don't
To
believe
construct
that
it.
is, I wish I had printed out our fancy. I don't believe that's actually a scoring criterion.
Oh, okay.
However, they do want to see, they do want this is supposed to result in implementable projects.
Yeah.
So it does need to be leading to or preparing for an implementable project
Sure.
that would contribute to the GLI metrics.
And one of the things we think we can be of value of if you don't have good partnerships, like I don't think a straight up municipal project is a great project for this, because community-based organizations are important, but if you have a municipal project and you need a community-based organization, or you don't have a good partner, we can try to facilitate that too. So
It's really CEOs that you're trying to reach out to, right? I mean, I know that we wouldn't even qualify to apply.
you could qualify to apply if you were working with a CEOs.
Yeah, it would need to be a
And
partnership.
we do also have contracted for community ambassadors for exactly that reason, to go out to community-based organizations, let them know about this, see if they have any interest, and so we bring them into the process by going out to where they are. And one of those is kind of Illinois-based, and the other three are pretty Northwest Indiana-based. And you may know Lois Whitakers with the Black Chamber of Commerce. Corral Perez has done some work with Community Tree before, and the Student Conservation Association. I don't know if people know Monica. Monica is involved with GUARD and the Green Steel Project, I think. So,
Any other questions? Before we have Jenna with the-
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a couple more slides.
Oh,
but
no, I thought you were
no,
done.
I'm
Sorry. You just get to talking.
No, I'm fine with it. There are two submission stages. I think we've already kind of covered some of this. The LOIs are due September 4th, and then full applications will come after that.
I think that people need to understand that letter of interest doesn't have to be some big thing. You know, it could be small, just get your name and project and everything in there.
And you can download the questions that will be asked into a
Okay.
PDF.
Just answer them.
Well, you can download them just to look at them. I know I do that when I'm looking at grant proposals. What questions am I going
Okay.
before I actually log into
Okay.
whatever online portal? So you may submit multiple letters of interest, either as a lead organization or as a partner on another organization. This is the geographic area. Sorry, it's not more zoomed into Northwest Indiana, but I think this geography should be pretty familiar with most of you. You can scan this QR code if you want to get more in depth on the geographic focus area. Should I give them see anyone trying to see?
one of the things we do want, and this is for the application, not the LOI, but because we're not funding land acquisition, if you want to do a project on land that doesn't belong to you, but that could be your partner. So a community group has broached to me a project to do on a public school. Do a project with a public school to put something on their property. Now you have a community partner with a lot of engagement opportunities. So that's another idea I thought was a really good idea.
Yeah. Okay, just briefly, project requirements. This could include community garden. This is kind of more examples, like Kathy said, schoolyards, vacant lots, public buildings, streets, trails, sidewalks, existing natural areas. The project can also include job training, family and high school age youth engagement and implementation, but those must be connected to GLRI aligned physical improvements at a specific site, so they aren't going to fund, solely a job training program.
Could that be where this community partnership and grant program comes in? Where they decide what groups of people they want to train, that it could be something to go?
I think that could be a component.
That's what I,
Yeah.
okay.
Like I'm thinking of an example. I know there was discussion about doing some arborist and tree technician trainings and certifications. And if you were doing that because you had a project where you were going to clear invasive species, or you had a lot of dead standing wood, or you were going to plant a lot of trees, now you've got some, because trees can count as stormwater, they can count as habitat, or you could be removing, the evil calorie pair. So you're hitting all the GLRI marks, and if you have a group of people you want to train in arborist or invasive control, or they're going to get a pesticide, herbicide certification.
I want to say, I think it's in another slide, but I want to say
there's
it's limited to 25% of the budget.
Yeah.
See, one of the things we were looking at is from what they've told me so far, this training is the month of September, 4 weeks, 4 days each week, and 4 hours. So if we're going to train, can we come away with, say, Luke Owens and PDS training in 4 days? We could have it, 4 hours, maybe less. The arborist training, could we put that in there so some of those people come away with those skills? The idea is be able to come up with skills they can take and get a job with.
It could be up to 25% of your budget, project budget.
As long as the overall project is linking to GLRI metrics.
Okay.
But you can't implement it, so
Yeah.
I guess you could certify your workforce while you plan and work on your NEPA thing, and then, yeah, losing that 1.5 years really hurt us.
Good question there.
So does the wetland have to be a river necessarily, or can it be like a pond or anything like that?
I think it could be a pond or something.
Okay.
There's, with those GLRI metrics, there's habitat restoration, there's species control.
They just have to watch
I believe a pond would be eligible.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, aquatic, it can be aquatic or terrestrial habitat too. So if you wanted to put in fish habitat, or remove a barrier.
Yeah. There are some prerequisites which will be asked in the LOI. We want to ensure that organizations have the capacity to implement a project and administer a federal grant, and that they have all of their partner roles in place. They must have staff already hired and identified as the project manager and lead contact, and have the capacity to manage federal funding. And they must also demonstrate community need as well as the aligned outcomes.
We did discuss at somebody's office hours, or maybe it was at the Gary workshop, that if you had like a volunteer that was working for a community-based organization and they're already doing it, you could use the grant to pay them to do this project. We didn't think with 18 months, it's hard sometimes to find the right person.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want you to spend like half of your 18 months just trying to find somebody to pay.
We'll add that to the NICEWIPE list too, and because of all the extra people on that list that are not MS4s, at least we can find some. I can think of a couple that were there at the meeting yesterday that would do the grant oversight and follow-up and that type of thing?
We do want projects to be ready and prepared to complete 90% design and permitting within 18 months. Kind of answer your question, Susan. And must have an existing agreement with the landowner. A lot of this, I think some of you are familiar with federal grants. But we're trying to make it clear for newer grantees. The budget must be reasonable based on the proposed deliverables. And we do identify there, that is where we say 25% of the total budget is the limit on those kind of optional capacity building activities. Building a strong project team, again, we've already kind of covered this, team decision-making, partners possessing a skill range for successful implementation, ability to ensure long-term stewardship of the site, commitment of the landowner and the applicant partner being able to manage a federal grant.
So that might be a case, Susan, for the Nature Conservancy, could be the applicant pursuing a project on somebody else's property or with another community.
Does the Save the Dunes Council manage grants for other people?
I guess it kind of depends on the capacity.
What about you guys?
You say manage grants for other people. I mean, we've got several awardees.
Yeah.
Okay. But if someone came to you, a municipality, and said, we want this grant, we've got a line for it, but we need someone that is a good manager, a grant manager, could you do
Well, I
that?
mean, I just did that for the city of Gary.
Right, that's
you know, what I was going to say, the
okay.
forestry project.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it does take a certain commitment from the city, and that's not always easy,
Yeah.
especially when they don't even have a parks director anymore, period, so.
But again, on that point, there should be a community role, there could be a government role, as well as a conservation role. Do you guys want me to go through in detail the GLRI alignment? I think we already covered a little bit of this. I'm not sure why we had a duplicate slide there. There are 4 measures of progress: non-point source pollution reduction, restoration of Great Lakes shoreline and riparian corridors, habitat restoration, enhancement and protection, and invasive species control.
Here, acres or gallons or miles, that's our ultimately what we're graded on.
And I don't think this group really needs me to explain non-point source pollution. We have Reggie here.
Yeah. See Reggie.
Yeah, but didn't you tell me that Long Beach is out of this now? And
Yes, sadly, Long Beach and Michiana Shores are not in that HUB code.
Yeah.
So they did,
Okay.
It's basic, just on the.
to add them would have ended up adding a chunk of Michigan, and somehow, I think it's an artifact of the HUB code changes that happened. I don't know. I also think they won't let us change it now. So, yeah. Yes, we can talk online.
Yeah. So just to reiterate the timeline, please feel free to reach out to me with any questions. We've already covered that we have office hours and what we'll be doing during those. You guys can't click through these links, but I will make sure that I email out. I think you guys should have received it already. It was sent out, the RFP announcement, but I will resend that to make sure that everybody has the links. Any questions?
I just want to say thank you.
Yeah,
This is a
thank
great
you.
job. You did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, and we will move
Thanks,
on to planning partner updates. Directly in the end, Ryan.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Thank you. Sorry for the delay, just need to change over settings.
What happened, Joe? Any questions? Parks or anything, I'll talk to you later. I'll send you a note.
All right, no worries. Just moving on.
Go through it.
Yeah, it never works with the Apple. I don't know.
So, we do have a lot of progress, and specifically related to, first thing I want to talk about is some grant funding that's coming up. There's going to be some grant funding later in October, in addition to the emergency NOFA, which was talked about Tuesday. There's going to be some last round of Volkswagen settlement funding that's replacing diesel off-road and on-road equipment. There's going to be around $13 million available. Just projects related to the different OEPIN funding awards. The level 2 projects have been completed with Viking Medical Center in Valparaiso, South Shore, Jaguar dealership on Route 30, Cherville Automotive dealership in Cherville on Route 41, Porter County Convention Recreation Visitors Center in Porter, Indiana, and of course NERC right out here. And then the DC Fast Charging Station projects. Gary Pilot Travel Centers is going to be coming online very soon, with Hebron and the Lake Station Pilot Travel Centers already in construction and completed, I think, probably at the end of September. There is some things happening around the Indiana NEVI National Electric Vehicle Infrastructure Program, $100 million. The state is going to be looking to self-certify and basically have an additional $70 million to spend for other local projects and not just focus on alternative fuel corridors, major highway systems, which is a good thing. We do have some upcoming events. We have a Clean Air Golf outing on August 25th at Whitehall Country Club in Crown Point. That has been sold out since May. On September 17th, we do have a National Drive Electric Week here at NERC from 10:30 a.m. to 1 o'clock. So we'll have multiple electric vehicles available to display and drive. And additionally, we have the Drive Clean Indiana Clean Tech Conference in Michigan City coming up on November 17th and 18th. If you have interested topics or things you'd like to present on, we do have a current call for speakers that I can't share with you right now. I just wanted to give an update regarding the Lake and Porter County ZEV program, Zero Emission Vehicle Program. So it was $2.9 million allocated towards this project with 25 municipalities, with electric vehicle charging stations and 80 electric vehicles. We're currently rolling out 36 vehicles that have currently been deployed. I had some great pictures I wanted to show related to Hobart. And one of the interesting things that's come from it is take-home vehicles. For a lot of police departments, they have take-home vehicles. So now if you have an electric vehicle, you got to charge that vehicle. So we just completed commissioning of 6 charging stations at the city of Hobart and their police team at their residential homes. So all of that can be paid for by the city of Hobart, and the cost savings is immense that they're normally using. So with that being said, a lot of good things coming up, very positive. And any questions right now? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. All right, Lake Michigan Coastal Program, who wants to? All right, Joe.
So no PowerPoint or anything?
No.
That's a good thing today.
Yeah. I just said I had a really great PowerPoint prepared. I spent hours on it, but I bet I can
Years go by quick here, so I'm trying to remember my dates on this, but I think it was 2023, 2024 timeline. The Lake Michigan Coastal Program partnered with NERC to do the community needs assessment based on coastal hazards. We did a number of listening sessions. NERC had all the contacts for municipalities, county government, and the like, addressing those various coastal hazards. And one of the important things that came out of those discussions and information we gathered from the communities when they did kind of self-assessments, and we helped them through that process, was that they seemed to be pretty well prepared for natural hazards such as flooding. So we saw that as not something that we really need to address. But what we found a very real need was along the shoreline. And in particular, coming off of 2020, that wasn't too long ago, we had record high lake levels and erosion impacts, people's houses being lost to public access, amenities, and the like. That being said, that going through that exercise helped us prepare for a general direction to provide resources for shoreline communities and other coastal managers and the like to address issues including lake level change, shoreline erosion, and coastal storms. So I'm happy to announce, after over a year of work, we're ready to launch the RISE network. I'll put these flyers out because this is a very targeted area with this, geographically speaking. We are getting ready to launch, we are launching, it's officially kicked off yesterday, the RISE network. So the Resilient Illinois Indiana Shorelines Network. It's going to be very similar, I guess it's what we would call a community of practice, would be very similar to the Stormwater Advisory Group, where you get a number of partners coming together to address a common concern or interest, so lake level change and erosion, to bring resources to bear. Because that's what we found out, is that shoreline communities and the coastal counties weren't necessarily, didn't have access to resources to prepare for or address these coastal hazards. So we're kicking that network off. We've got a website, Lake Michigan Coastal Program. I'm buried the lead on this a little bit. Lake Michigan Coastal Program has partnered with Illinois Indiana Sea Grant and Illinois Coastal Management Program. So it's actually a bi-state community of practice for network. So we're uber excited about this. We've been planning this for about a year straight. We're hoping to have our first public meeting here as part of the State of Lake Michigan Conference, which is going to be happening in November in Michigan City on November 4th and 6th. That Friday, they're going to be doing field trips. We're going to have one of the field trips over at Indiana Beauty State Park. That's where we'll actually hold our first in-person network meeting. As part of this, on On the back of the sheets, there's a couple of important things for those that might be interested to help us plan the network further. We want to find out what the specific interests are of all those that would want to participate in the network, what their primary interests are in involvement in the network, but also there is a listserv that people can sign up. We plan on doing like virtual meetings, probably newsletters on like a quarterly basis, wrapped around the season and the like. But it's basically to bring resources to the shoreline community so they're prepared for the next time that we have one of these high-level, lake-level event scenarios, or sometimes in some cases, like during drastically low lake-level conditions, there's other hazards and concerns that happen around those times. So that's like our big announcement, but a lot of that work comes out of the lake work that Nipsey Hill Coastal.
What is it actually called, the lake?
RISE Network, the Resilient Illinois Indiana Shorelines Network.
Okay, so in November, you have 3 days actually. So is that something like the Indiana partnership with the members that are in the watershed, or anybody? Could we participate, or?
Yeah, so that's a great question.
Money?
Don't need money right now. So membership is free. What we're looking to do is build up shoreline resiliency. Who should join? We've got like a list of municipal staff, local governments, emergency managers from coastal counties. This is one of the things that we found out is like when we did the needs assessment is the county-wide multi-hazard mitigation plans. Often you see a whole bunch of information that dealt with flooding in there, but when it came to the shoreline, very Spartan or not mentioned at all. That's like one of the very first steps is to hopefully get this incorporated into the county, so when the municipalities go to adopt that and so forth, that it's incorporated there. That's just like an example type thing that might come out of this. Some of the other information that we hope to be able to share with this is maybe some like data. Is to one of the things that Coastal Program has been doing over the past several years is with our coastal monitoring program. We do annual flights, ortho imagery along the shoreline, the entire 45 miles of the coastline, and we collect LiDAR data, so elevation data. We're starting to process that now of erosion rates along the coastline, so communities can plan and understand that like the shoreline is retreating X amount on average, what's at risk, things like that.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so we're excited about that. I am going to, I'm sorry I didn't have these up earlier, but it is very targeted for like shoreline communities and counties. This is for the practitioners, not so much like the general public and so forth. But I'll put these flyers out front. Important things is fill out the survey, which is going to close in about a month's time, to help us plan for our upcoming meetings. And then also, if you just want to keep apprised of what's happening with the network, is to sign up for the listserv. There's the QR codes.
Very cool.
Just
Yes.
pass them around.
Yeah. Can the private lake communities have any?
This is Lake Michigan specific.
They can?
It's for the Lake Michigan specific. So if you're an inland lake or something like that, this really isn't.
So
It's not targeted for that.
okay, so
Yep.
so large.
Yeah, so like, let's say, like, I grew up outside the Lake Four Seasons or
Yeah,
something
that's
like
what
that,
I'm
those
thinking,
lakes,
lakes.
it doesn't apply to that. It's for Lake Michigan, that big pond to the north.
All right. Well, you say communities, and so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shoreline communities.
That is a good distinction, because that was another thing we found in the
Yes.
assessment, is that there's a lot of confusion for people when we use the terms coastal versus shore. They think shoreline. Whereas when we say coastal, we mean.
Yeah, so it's gonna be like
So this is actually
Chicago,
shoreline.
Gary,
Yeah.
Hammond, Portage, Michigan City, Ogden Dunes, Long Beach. Long Beach is in the watershed, you don't understand that.
I don't understand that either. Long Beach keeps asking.
So,
I know.
is it going to address making sure that these communities understand the public trust doctrine? And that it's not always about erosion, it's also about starvation. And that what I found is that they're not always ready for permitting, Army Corps permitting, and state permitting. There's always
Excellent questions. So yes, we do have that. That'd be part of like the survey where it's kind of whoever participates in the survey can put those things in. I'm interested in learning about more, or I need help with this. They can put check marks next to it. But yes, like the public trust or the ordinary high watermark, those could be things in there. Permitting assistance and so forth. That's something that if that was interest to a large portion of the group that we target, like during that first year of planning and so forth, that we have a lunch and learn session or an in-person talking about permitting processes and what permits you need and what triggers that and things like that. So any of those things like that might be applicable. It could be habitat, like habitat restoration along the coastline. It could be public access enhancement along the coastline. It could be maybe even like some minor stuff on like water safety associated with structures with like rip currents and things like that. So it's kind of broad spectrum, but we're trying to bring those resources and find out more particularly what communities are interested in to plan for the upcoming year.
That's great. That'd be overwhelming as a small community, I think, some of these issues and erosion issues on the lake, so that's great to have that resource for sure. All right, thanks, Joe. All right, any announcements?
So, since Nancy Moldenauer isn't here, I'll announce on her behalf that Green Drinks is tonight on Zoom at 6:30. And you can join via the Save the Dunes Facebook page. You can watch Facebook Live, or you can go to the Northwest Indiana Green Drinks Facebook page to get the Zoom link. And the topic tonight is will green steel come to Northwest Indiana? So I think that'll be really good. Second announcement, I've been doing some work with Repower, REMC. One of the key partners is Sun, Solar United Neighbors, and they're going to be forming another co-op or cohort. It's kind of like Groupon for solar, basically, and that'll be starting in October and hopefully installed solar in spring of next year. So I'll probably have more information by our November meeting on that.
Great. Oh, Reggie.
This is quick. Over here are some of the DNR posters. Of all the ones I got yesterday, that's all that's left. There's 4 of them. So please help yourself. Take one. There's also some Indiana Stormwater Partnership buttons. Take those. I don't want it to go back in the box.
All right. Well, our next scheduled meeting. I'm sorry, George. I thought that was
Just want to invite everybody to our open house for our fire department, which is August 16th, from noon until 4, with free hot dogs and ice cream for the kids, and they'll have firemen pushing the ball and have firefights, tug of war type thing. And last year we had helicopter flew in for emergency demonstration. So it's kind of a fun thing for the kids, and it also have dome tanks and bouncy houses and stuff.
nice.
So everyone's welcome to come.
What did you say the date was for that, George?
It's going to be north of 30 on 600, right across from Union Center Elementary at the fire station.
What date?
August the 16th.
Jacob.
It's a Saturday.
Green Drinks was covered already, thank you, Kathy. Just one big update, I guess, for internally, we hired a new deputy director, Daniel King, who's working a lot on our Parker House master plan and a lot of the management efforts on our properties. And then the other event update is we have our annual Jammin' event coming up on September 19th from 1 to 5 p.m. CST at Millennium Station in Michigan City.
Oh, great. I should also mention the Indiana Association for Floodplain and Stormwater Management annual conference is September 16th through the 18th in Muncie this year. So registration's still open. You missed the early bird, but that's okay.
Somebody's speaking.
Oh, that's true.
You got distracted. I was
Very own
surprised.
Reggie Corthoff will be giving. That'll be a packed
Yeah, I know.
session, no doubt. Yeah. Any other announcements or go to the order?
I'd just like to ask Jacob, make sure that you have my new email on your list because I'd love to have that information to give to the NICEWI group each month so that they will be able to contact you or do that, okay?
Okay.
I'll give it to you in 1 second.
Perfect.
All right, next scheduled meeting is November 5th, right here, 10 a.m. And unless there's an objection, we are